We're live in Studio B. This is your day-to-day BYU Sports play-by-play. I am Spencer Linton alongside Jarom Jordan. Joining us now, as promised, former BYU and NFL linebacker Bryan Kehl on the program to discuss what in the world happened in Lubbock and what it means for BYU's college football playoff chances. Bryan Kehl back on BYUSN. How are you this morning, Bryan?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, fellas.
You got it. Okay, let's just go ahead and start with what happened on Saturday. From your vantage point, where did it initially go wrong for BYU, and why could they not recover like they have done so often this season?
Well, it was a top 10 team at their place. That's what happened. And yes, I mean, there's a couple things. I was just kind of looking at some numbers and looking at some flow of the game. There's two things that stand out to me. The first one, obvious, is the muff punt. And I was talking to somebody the other day, not about college, I can't remember, just talking about sports. Oh, it was about a Little League. Anyway, their championship game that they just had. And he's talking about momentum. And it is, I mean, this was for 10-year-olds. He was talking about a championship game and momentum and how it swung and blah, blah, blah. And if you look at that game, that muffed punt was just a huge momentum shift for Texas Tech. And credit the defense who held them to 3 points instead of 7 there, which was huge. But it was still a momentum shift. It changed the game. Like think about the flip side. What if Parker Kingston gets a 40-yard return there, and we get a field goal or a touchdown? It just those types of things swing the momentum, and it's like that for any game. And when the opponent is that good, it swings it that much more. So that was huge. And then we get the ball back, go 3 and out, which was not great. Punt it back to them. We had a good punt. It was down on like the 8-yard line. And so here's a great chance for us to pin them and get the ball back in good field position. But instead, we give up like a 37-yard pass on 3rd and 6. And then they ended up scoring on that drive. We go down 10-0. Those two plays, that 37-yard 3rd and 6, that we had a chance to pick it. We just kind of misplayed the ball in the air. And then obviously the muff punt. If you flip those two plays, the entire ball game looks different. So yeah, people are like, what's the gap between BYU and Texas Tech? Texas Tech's a good football team, but we're right there. And the game, the outcome, the final score is not so indicative of the couple things that happened their way throughout the game that got it to where it finished. So I'm not that concerned. You fix those things. We can play with those guys.
So you feel like if those two plays were different, BYU would not have had only 255 yards of total offense?
No, the game would have looked differently. So we got behind, and they're a phenomenal defense. And when you get behind, that other team's D-line pins their ears back, and they know you can't be balanced. You got to press. You can't just run your offense. It just it steamrolls is what it does. And that's what kind of happened. So if those two plays don't happen, that doesn't mean we go score 40 points. I'm just saying the game looks differently. Obviously, we could have played a lot better on offense. Special teams was terrible. Special teams been great all year. This is the first game where special teams was really poor. We've won the turnover battle all year. We were -3 in the turnovers. False starts. We had drops, like critical drops that from guys who don't normally drop the ball. And those are they're drive killers, they're momentum killers. They suck the wind out of offense. And when your offense is like on life support, looking for a spark, needing something to get going, and you have those drops, and there was one of them where it could have had some significant catch and run and an explosive play, which we didn't have the whole game, explosive plays. That's the type of stuff that you just never get going. And so, yeah, the game was disappointing, but what I'm saying is it could have looked a lot differently, and I'm not as depressed about it as a lot of people are. That's what I'm saying.
Bryan Kehl is on BYU Sports Nation. Okay, Bryan, now it gets to the tricky part where BYU's got to get right mentally and not let this tough game slip into now back-to-back losses like it did last year in a similar situation where BYU lost to Kansas, and then they had to go to Arizona State, which was a tough task, lose a tough game. So now BYU's trying to rally and start another win streak. What is your advice or maybe your take on how BYU does that properly to get right for TCU and get back on a winning path?
Yeah, so I may or may not have said this on the show before. one of the best speeches I ever heard was from Lou Holtz at the Vegas Bowl. Can't remember which year. He spoke to us at a luncheon, and he talked about this win formula. What's important now? And he said that is the key to football. Good things happen, bad things happen, and it's all about now. Now what? Now what? What's important now? So back to BYU this season. We lost. We played bad. We stubbed our toe. National stage, all that, blah, blah, blah. Well, what's important now? The next game. We go finish and take care of business. The next game, you flush this. You learn what you can from it. You glean what you can from it. And you take those lessons and those nuggets to improve your play in the next game, and you just go back to work. And that's my confidence in this team is extremely high. And throughout the season, they have seen adversity, and they have responded appropriately. So I expect them to. That's what I expect now. They've shown us they can do it. So now they've set that bar. They've set that expectation. So I expect them to be right back to business this week at home against an old foe.
Texas Tech, they put their pants on the same way we do. TCU and BYU. You played against TCU a bunch of times in the Mountain West. This is a team that hasn't visited Provo since 2009. They got BYU pretty good in 23. Different BYU, different TCU. Obviously, Josh Hoover and that passing attack are really good, 8th in the country. What do you make of the matchup in a game that BYU has to win?
Yeah, I love the TCU matchup. I'm still bugged. They beat us in overtime, 51-50.
Yeah, 05.
And I'm still bugged about that game.
Brutal.
And
I hate that one too.
I think we had a 17-point lead, and we blew it. And then we beat them the next 2 years, which was great. So, I mean, great memories with TCU. They've been a great program for a long time, going back, back to the good old days. But just a storied program, and then they're not right now what they have been. But they still got players, they still got dudes, and you got to show up. And that's where it's like back to our team and back to what's important now. Lou Holtz. It's go take care of business. Go play football the way you can. And the things that I want to see, I don't want to see drop balls. I don't want to see muff punts. I don't want to see false starts. I don't want to see missed tackles. I don't want to see so many explosive plays. Like, our defense played great against a very good Texas Tech team, but we gave them way too many explosive plays. And everybody sung our defense's praises for bowing up in the red zone and holding them to field goals. But it's like, don't let them get to the red zone in the first place with these big explosive plays. And we gave up too many of those. So those are the things that I want to see our team respond and clean up and play, go back to playing a balanced, full football game, offense, defense, special teams, which they're capable of, and get back on track. That's what I want to see.
All right, Brian, in the final minute, why should BYU fans believe that this team will be different than last year's squad, and this team will figure out a way to win the final 3 regular season games and get to a Big 12 championship game?
Yeah, I think you just look throughout the year, and they've been down before and responded. And it started, I think it was week 4, Colorado, just like that. They're down 14 points, and I was just so impressed. And it's not like Colorado's a great team this year, but it's still on the road, and they still got guys. And you're down 14 points with a true freshman quarterback, and our guys didn't bat an eye, and they battled back and won. And that's not the only time that they've come back from a double-digit deficit. And they're battle tested. They've been through adversity and picked themselves back up and got back on track. So that's why I expect them to do that again. And I think these 3 opponents, I expect us to beat all 3 of them. I expect Texas Tech to win out, and I expect us to play them again in the championship game, and I expect us to play better.
Let's go. Expectations we love to hear. Brian, great to talk to you, man. Good stuff as always. Let's do it again soon.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
All right, the great Bryan Kehl on BYU Sports Nation.
Wish Brian could play Saturday, out there with Glasker and Kelly. That'd be awesome.